Pitch
Pitch
practice,
practice. The
the
show.
show. What's up, Brandon? You got all.
Morning, Mark.
I can barely see you amongst all that black background, the black shirt, and the black hat. What's going on?
Oh, it's a dark and gloomy day here in Ohio. No, that's just the outfit for the day. I know I've got the black background, but I don't think about some of these things at times, but whatever. You can still see my smiling face.
Yes, yes. I'm coming to you. Oh my gosh. You 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 came up there a little bit and I saw this emblem on your shirt and I'm thinking, sorry about that.
What are you talking about? They won Monday night.
Oh, that's why you have it?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
you're
yeah. They won.
representing you're
Represent.
representing
I'll represent today. Quarterback played well, even though he's a backup. They won, even though it was by field goal. A win's a win. And he did well. 350 plus yards for a backup, undrafted. It's quite a feat. So we're not here to talk about football, man. Actually, we probably should
Uh-huh.
because if you looked into his story, obviously I'm terrible and I should know more about my team than I do. I don't even know his name, but
Uh-huh.
um, he's been taking a 10x approach to his whole career in training, even as a backup. Some of the stories that I heard and read is that he has hired guru after guru and has done so much outside training that
Mm,
when he was called up and ready to go, he was ready to go. So I mean, he took a 10x mindset
uh-huh.
to his position, even as a backup. And look where it got him. He's in the limelight right now. He's getting his 15 minutes of fame, and that should lead into again the book that we've been talking about
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
past couple weeks. Is 10x is easier than 2x.
Yes. Yes.
Dan
And
Sullivan and Dr. Ben Hardy.
yeah, yeah. You make a good point, and what we went through over the chapters today. But I think that when we talk about 10x being easier than 2x, he's speaking about it in an entrepreneurial sense for business owners. But I think this whole philosophy is more about, as he puts it, okay, so as he puts it in one of the early chapters, and we're just getting right to it, right, Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
And I look at some of the things that I've underlined and I bookmarked in here. One of the big and we're just, man, okay, I think I talked about this and I said that I thought the introduction was a little bit long.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he went on pretty long about the story about Michelangelo and how he started off as uh another interesting thing that caught me about Michelangelo's story was that when he first started out, he had to be dishonest with his dad about what he was doing. I thought that was interesting. Um, but that has to go back to yeah, we're both going through the One Funnel Away challenge right now, One Funnel Away 3.0. And we just started the second week, and Russell talked about the first day that when you start off on this entrepreneurial journey, you're going to come up against obstacles. There are going to be people that are not going to support you, and it's going to come from a lot of those people that are closest around you. And I just saw that in the story that he talked about Michelangelo, but he went so much how he, I guess, how he counterbalanced that was actually not being honest with his father about what he was doing when he was going out and pursuing his dream. So I got that lesson from the 10x book as well. But
Mm-hmm.
also in this first intro, one thing that I uh, I really outlined in here, and that he said was the most fundamental. This is page 14. He said the most fundamental qualitative change is internal, your vision and identity. So it will, and so this harks back to the, you know, the be, do, have. Do you, does that make sense?
Yeah, totally, 100% does. I mean, the be do have, you're thinking who you are yourself, who you want to be, then you got to do the things to get who you want to be, and then once you have that, then you have it. You are who you want to be, and you have the things that you're looking to accomplish, and it's a total internal story from that perspective. You know, people can tell you what you are and who you are, and that does have, you know, a small effect and impact on who you are, because if you keep hearing it over and over again, maybe you start thinking that you are what everybody is saying, and so you start telling the same internal story that people are, the external story is, and that's what really causes the change. So, you know, words spoken to you are powerful, but words spoken to yourself are 10 times more more powerful. So just be mindful of that, and that comes outside of the 10x book, but those are the philosophies that it's kind of written on. And the story of Michelangelo is a tale as old as time. You know, even in this day and age, how many kids want to be artists or draw or do something outside of the norm, uh, business wise, either, you know, not get a job or do some type of trade labor or be a doctor or a lawyer or something, and they want to be a philosopher or a speaker or an artist, and nobody understands those things, but they do. And so because it's not understood, people tend to say that they're not doing the right thing, and try to turn them off from it. But, you know, if it's your passion to paint, paint, and learn everything you can about painting. And that's what Michelangelo did. And because of him, we have beautiful works of arts, and a culture that is way beyond what we deserve.
Right, right. I don't know what was the name? Who were you talking about? So I have not been watching football at all. But you were talking what, he's non-drafted?
Yeah,
Uh
he's undrafted.
okay, okay. And it reminds me when you were talking about how he has developed a 10x mindset, it reminds me of stories that I've heard from Kobe Bryant, and how he got so much, he got, during his playing career, he got so much pushback from other people, teammates, and you, I don't know if you followed Kobe Bryant, but he was sort of a, he was sort of a, you know, he was very, very good, but he wasn't with the pack. I don't think he got along well with some teammates. And when I listened to his story, he would talk about how he had such this mentality, and he could not understand how other people didn't have the same mentality.
Hmm.
So he would come to work. I mean, well, okay, work, practice, which is work, right? You know, if he's not like Allen Iverson saying, you know, practice doesn't matter, practice is part of your work. And he would come to practice and outwork everyone else there, because he treated practice as if it was the real game. And
Hmm.
when others didn't come and have that same mentality, then that's how he had so much friction with his teammates. He was just, he was definitely on a 10x level. And he would talk about how during the off season, when everyone else was enjoying their time and taking vacations and doing all these things, he was still practicing. He was still practicing during the off season, and people would ask him, there's only so much to learn in the game of basketball. How could you still be practicing? What are you talking about? There's a limit. But what Kobe would say is that when you have the passion for the game, you find lessons in basketball and other things. So what
Hmm.
he did was he took karate classes, he took judo, he took tap dance, he took ballet, and these all taught him valuable skills that helped him in the game of basketball. And I'm imagining that your is it your the quarterback?
Yeah, his name's Jake Browning. So,
Okay.
you know, he started playing in 2019, undrafted. So he's only been in the league 4 years now, but he's making a name for himself now. He's given the opportunity, the unfortunate injury to Burrow, which just goes to show, if even if you are second string, you got to practice like your first string because you never know when you're going to get called up. So it's a good lesson to learn and teach the kiddos about that who may be second string all their life until that one key moment, because it only takes one, to where all that 10x work that you put in behind the scenes becomes 100x your goals, income in life.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that just when we first start, okay, so when you pick up the book, 10x is easier than 2x. And then I think you can think, okay, well, he starts off and says, 10x is not what you think. It's not 10% better. It's not that we've got a goal to we've got a goal to increase our sales by 10% over last year. And you can look and see the numbers. And he talks about doing that when you go in those are incremental changes, then you're just competing to be the smartest. But 10x isn't about doing more, but doing less. And it's also not about quantity, but it's about quality. Let's so when I'm thinking about this, I'm looking for some examples of something where I can say that in my life I have had a 10x experience. And most people out there would say, you know what? I don't think I've ever had a 10x experience. But during Funnel Hacking Live, if you remember, we saw Dr. Benjamin Hardy on stage, and he had us
Hmm.
do this. He had us do this exercise. Do you
Hmm.
remember the exercise, Brandon?
Yeah, I got the notes right here. Basically, it's just asking us questions like who we were from 10 years ago, because he states that um, our past is our filter for our future, and that 2x is operating in the past to create the future. So if you're trying to create the future based on your past, it's not going to work,
Yeah,
because it's too limited of a mindset to do that. Um, and you got to let the future be the filter for your present, meaning you got to think ahead of what you want to then see the world as it is today. So like if you want to make $100,000, what do you have to do today to make $100,000? Not what did you do 5 years ago, because that's not going to work.
yeah, yeah. That's correct. Another thing that I'm listening, because I'm finding out that Dr. Benjamin Hardy, this this guy's written like, oh, it seems like he's written hundreds of books, and I didn't realize he had written so many books. This was actually my first introduction to him was at Funnel Hacking Live, and
Hmm.
then got this book. Found out he'd written another book with uh, Dan Sullivan, or another two books, and I haven't got the other one just yet, but that one is coming. The third one, and then I
Hmm.
found another book of his. But I like his approach to the mental aspect, psychological aspect of success. I think it's success. I believe that these principles can be used regardless of what your end goal is, or what you're trying to accomplish in life. It's really about who you become, right?
Absolutely. Because 2x is crawling, 10x is walking, and you just have that. Again, it's all mindset, it's all mental deal, and we're starting to see more and more of this resurface and come back. Maybe it's just because of the circles that we're in, but um, all the problems that we currently have, or I would say I currently have, is just all mental. It's just getting out of my own mental waste and telling myself I can do the things instead of saying that it's too hard or I don't have enough money for it, or um, you know it's never going to work. Those types of things, and those are the little things that keep people from, and myself, from achieving what needs to be done and make success the duty. Throw a little Cardonism in there for you. 'Cause
Success is your
people
duty,
sit,
or
yeah,
it's your obligation.
obligation. Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, the exercise that he had us go through at Funnel Hacking Live, it really helped me to see that, you know what? I've had more 10x, I've had more 10x jumps than I might give myself credit for. That's what that exercise did. So when you think about 10x, and you might think, wow, that's going to be so much work, or I've never had a 10x jump in my life. It's it's because I think it's because this what we're not thinking, or we don't realize the changes that we've had. When he took us through that exercise and he said, okay, what growth have you had over the past 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
And you thought of something. And he said, okay, let's take that, something different within the past 5 years. And then you come up with it, right? You're like, okay, I did grow in this. And then he took it down to a year. Then he took it down to, in the past month, how
Mm-hmm.
much have you grown? And then in the past week, how much have you grown? And then you start to realize that, you know what? I am having these steps. I am growing exponentially, but maybe I'm just not really seeing it in my own eyes. And even in the story, remember, I stopped our listening during this chapter when he talked about Michelangelo, and it was Michelangelo, right?
Yes,
Yeah, Dave, because he says David, right?
that's
So
the statue.
David's the statue, Michelangelo. Okay, because he talks about so many different painters, and I'm just not familiar. I'm thinking, okay, but he started off on his journey at the age of 17, and at he uh by the time he completed that statue of the, did he do the Sistine Chapel?
Yeah,
Was
he
it
did Sistine Chapel, but it was when he completed the statue of David after all that he went through and the countless bodies he cut up and dissected and learned about. He was in his mid to late 30s. So, it took him nearly 20 years to reach the pinnacle peak of his, I would say, existence, but popularity and skill level.
him?
Um, and that in itself, people don't realize, understand it takes that long to become a master of any craft. It takes years, and it's painful, and people
Yeah.
avoid pain, and they don't want to do the work. And in this day and age where everything is so fast, and you see the people around you seemingly having the success that you want,
Hmm.
it puts that mental block in your mind. So you got to have the blinders on and just stick to the thing that you love and do it day in, day out. And stop looking at what you did in the past and stop looking at other people and trying to filter your future through them, because it won't work. And that's the whole premise behind 10x is 2x. And definitely looking forward to diving deeper into the book with it. you know, the session at Funnel Hacking Live was probably the most mentally taxing at Funnel Hacking Live, because I think he was day 2, like middle of day 2, or he was already beat up from day 1, and
all the after parties.
And worn out and tired, and you're just sitting there, and this guy's hitting you with like this mind-blowing stuff, and you know, putting a different spin on these concepts that have been around and taught to us, just never were in the, I guess, the reference frame to see it and absorb it. So it's definitely good. Definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. So let's think, because you make such a great point there, because everybody feels as though that I should have it, and I should have it now. Okay. Everyone feels that I should have it and I should have it now. But that's not always necessarily the case. And even back then, 20 years, well, this is over almost 200 years ago, it took him 20 years. Now, it may not take that long today, but even in your example with that quarterback, Josh Browning. Oh, I'm sorry. My fault. Josh Browning, 4 years. So I would say that when you are pursuing your 10x goals, just remember that it takes time. You are making progress, but don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short, even though you may feel as though you're not making any progress, but you are making progress. And give yourself time. Stay committed to it and keep going even when no one else around you supports you. Like Michelangelo, he had to lie to his dad because he wanted to pursue his passion, and he knew that if he probably didn't tell his dad that he was that he already got the job, that he would probably try to deter him. So so that was interesting that even back then he went through it. And we are coming to the end of today's episode. Such a great read so far. Your final thoughts on the book, Brandon?
Yeah, I'd say get the audio. If you were to get the book, it goes into a little bit more than what the book can do. Because on the audio version, you actually have Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan interviewing each other before each chapter and providing additional insights. So definitely get the physical book if you're a physical book guy, but pair it with the audio for 10x more. 10x is better than 2x. No, it's a good book. Looking forward to it. You know, like I said, just like you, I never heard of Dan Hardy before Funnel Hacking Live. We'll definitely have to check out his other 2 books, because I think 10x is better than 2x is the 3rd book in the trilogy. So that seems to be a reoccurring pattern when it comes to this mindset deal. It's like you don't find the first 2, you find the 3rd, and then work your way back.
Yes. And before we leave, we've got this comment right here.
10x your 10x. That's it.
10x your 10x. Make it 100x. Thanks for joining in this week for our special episode. And
yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll catch you next week. Promise. I know we missed last week, but you know, holidays kind of get in the way, and things pop up, and sometimes we stay up later than we probably should. But that's because we're trying to do some work.
It's like a kid in a candy store, and we don't even talk about what we're doing behind the scenes and what's going on. But take care, everyone, and we will see you again next week on Pitch Practice, the show. Remember, 10x your 10x. All right. All right. Take care.
Bye. Later.